Beyond truth and lies are the stories without answers. Welcome to Dragonsbread. Wondering what's really out there. It's part of the human experience to wrestle this question of whether we're alone in the universe or not. But what if the tables were turned and instead of wondering, what's really out there was coming to see you? This is Sev Talk's story. Welcome to Beings.
I'm not 45-ish anymore. I was just relaxing that day. My ex wasn't home. He might have been out sailing or something. I don't know where he was. I was outside with the cats. It was a beautiful day. I was in a really meditative state. Some pictures of the sky. And then I came inside, and they came in and sat on my couch, two of them. They look like they could have been about 8 feet tall. And I'm blinking like, wow. It's like these swirling kaleidoscope beams of light, different shades of light blue, silver, and then every now and then like there'd be just like a glow of a spring green, similar to how the characters looked in the movie Avatar. They just started talking to me. They gave me information about Tesla and Disney and Tchaikovsky. All of this stuff came out.
So is there a telepathic thing going on? How are you communicating?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, telepathically.
Okay. What do they sound like in your head?
Oh. It was neutral, but I felt nourished. It was just love was pouring out of them. They said that those three humans were in contact with them too, and that a lot of very successful people are in contact, and that Disney had met Tesla, and that when you listen to Tchaikovsky music, it's written in such a way that when you listen to it, the energy comes inside of you and it helps you activate your potential and it activates your DNA. And so it's no coincidence that Disney's Fantasia had Tchaikovsky music in.
You didn't ask them any question? They just start unloading all this stuff on you? Like, here's this information?
Yeah.
So then they get up and leave? You watch them leave?
They just kind of disappeared. Just kind of like... From my childhood up until now, I was always feeling entities. I'm 10. I'm in 5th grade, I think. Crofton, Maryland. It's a Washington, D.C. suburb. I have conscious memories of a spaceship coming. I would be outside waiting for it, and I could see the spaceship coming. It was a dark, dark, dark silvery gray, and there was no sound, just blinking lights. And I'm standing underneath it, and it's all I can see. And I am so happy. Yay, he's back. And it lands. And these steps come out to the ground, and this man walks out. Less than 6 feet, my color skin, trim, black hair, kind of short, no facial hair, dark eyes, dark eyebrows. His ears were slightly almond, had like a regular human face, like neutral looking. Good looking and not ugly and not male, not female. He had on a dark top and a dark pants. He always looked the same.
Do you remember making eye contact?
I just have memories of the feelings, which is he was just like a big brother checking up on their little sister, making sure that they're okay. So it would happen while I was resting at night. And when I would come to in my room, I would be shocked, instant, full on, alert, like I was dropped into my room. And then I would just tell myself, just forget about it. It's time to get dressed and go to school. Both of my parents were believers in other civilizations on other planets. They taught me how to meditate in 5th grade. They were very open-minded. They were very forward-thinking. I could have easily gone to them, but there was just something inside of me that felt like this is just my personal experience, not to be shared at all with anybody. It's my mom and my dad and my sister. And my sister is a little less than 2 years younger. And we're a really tight family. I was born in Istanbul, Turkey, and both of my parents Turkish. And both of my parents are very creative. My father was a professional photographer. And my mother was a dress designer and had her own private clientele. My parents got involved in this spiritual group for a couple of years, and then they quit. Some things started happening that didn't feel aligned. It still exists. It's called Eckankar.
And this is what the path of Ek is all about. Walking the path to God. Even more, it's about walking your path to God. Because your path is not my path, and my path is not yours. But that's okay, because when God made you, He made a unique being.
Well, it's probably the reason that my parents came to America in the first place. The ability to think freely and having the freedom to express it. And so we were encouraged to not hold back, talk about any idea that we had. We were also encouraged to be very creative, and they just created an environment where we could say anything we wanted to say and express our feelings, and we were not shut down. The next experiences are just really unusual, out-of-the-body astral travels that I would have when I was in bed, again in 5th and 6th grade. And just the continuation of that alien in a spacecraft that just kept visiting me until I was 12. And I do remember the very last visit. I don't remember being on the spaceship. I could have been. I remember standing on the ground. There's kids next to me. They're about my height, so I'm assuming they're about my age. And we're all kind of standing in a straight line looking at this spaceship that is slowly just flying away. And I have the realization of sadness. I'm thinking to myself, oh no, he's leaving. This is the last time I'm going to see him. As I'm looking at the other kids, I know that there's something that we're supposed to be doing, but I didn't know what it was. And then I come to in my room. I usually was the only kid whenever my parents would have dinner parties. I was always at the adult table listening to the adults. And I was allowed to sit there and hear their discussions. At the time, I didn't realize it, but it was really a pretty high-level talk about spiritual expansion and awareness and who are we and what's reality. We would meditate at home, we had a walk-in closet, and we would take turns going into the walk-in closet. And then when we came out, we would share with the family what we saw, what we felt, what we heard. That was the only time I really shared with my family. There was one time outside in 5th grade, out in the playground, where I mentioned something about meditating to one of my friends. And the next thing I know, I am surrounded by a group of kids, and they're asking me a million questions. And I started to feel a little uncomfortable because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I am really the only one doing this. And then because I was Turkish, I was an American, and I wanted so much to be American, I'm like, man, I'm already different enough. I was just so different on so many levels. There was absolutely nobody I'd look at and go, oh, they're just like me, like not one. And I told myself, I don't want to be singled out. I'm just not going to talk about it. Well, the first time it was validated to me was in my late 20s, so it was out of college. The validation that I was talking to a dead person. Do you want me to skip all the way up to that? So I'm married. I'm at my house. He's at work. What was I doing for a living? I was a jewelry designer. I decided not to go to medical school. I had an internship. I was pretty happy. So it's a summer afternoon, and I'm sitting on my back deck. I'm in a lounge chair. I'm in my bathing suit because I'm getting some sun, and I'm really relaxed with my eyes closed. And then all of a sudden, in my third eye is this man's face. His eyes are open. He's looking right at me, and he says his name. And this little voice says, go to the obituary. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, I've lost it. So I went inside and I looked at the obituary, and there was his name. He had died. My husband at the time comes home, and I tell him, all he says is, don't read the obituaries. I'm freaked out. One thing I started doing when I was 16 was automatic writing, and I would channel information page after page after page. Some of it would be people telling me, I am so-and-so, and I died like this, and I want you to tell so-and-so that I say hello. And I never would. And they would come to me in the dream state, and they would come to me in the semi-dream state. When I opened up that faucet, I didn't know how to control it. After a while, I'm like, I don't want any more dead people talking to me. Oh, how old. I'm so bad with going back in my timeline with dates and ages and things. Oh, gosh. I'm in Maryland. I meet my next husband, and we get married, and I'm really happy. It's good, it's fun, there's a lot of travel, there's a lot of friends, there's a lot of parties.
What happened that you got out of your previous one where you pulled the parachute?
Oh, he was getting horrible. He almost killed me. I married someone who didn't seem abusive at all, but then, he could just... Yeah, I escaped. It was scary. So my store closed in a day. I'm like, what? I don't have my store anymore. I'm like, what am I going to do? And my sister calls me, who's an accountant. She goes, they're looking for someone at the front desk. I started working for a predominantly Orthodox Jew accounting firm. It is when I'm employed there that I decide I have to answer whether I'm crazy or not. I don't know why. I just decided I don't want to be on this roller coaster anymore. So I got to know if I'm crazy or if I'm really hearing information that's legit. I don't go to psychics. I don't go to mediums because I was extremely suspicious. I went to her and she said, what's your question? And I said, I don't have one. You tell me what I need to hear. But I did have a question. It was, am I crazy or am I not? And she's like, okay. Well, you should be doing what I'm doing. You can hear, feel, and see information really well. And then she says to me, tell me where I'm going to move. And I said, oh, you mean you're going to tell me where I'm going to move? She goes, no, you're going to tell me where I'm going to move. I'm like, okay, all right. So I closed my eyes. I described to her what I saw. And she goes, yeah, that's where I'm moving to. I left. I was like, wow, this is real. I'm not insane. I called one of my good friends and I said, I have got to do an experiment. I'm going to try and meet somebody. Can you send me somebody? It's somebody I can't know. So she calls me back. She goes, 2 people are coming. I was about to throw up. I had this angel on one shoulder and devil on one shoulder. Angel's like, you can do it, you can do it. You got to try. You don't want to be in your deathbed and wonder. Just try. And this devil going, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to look like an asshole. Your friend's going to be embarrassed. Your friend might not be your friend anymore. These people are going to think you're a nutcase. So they come. I send one upstairs, and then I give a reading to one. She was like, wow, that was really good. And then she goes upstairs. The second one comes. I give her a reading. She was like, wow. And they leave. And I'm like, well, I'll be. And so I decided to call them soul purpose readings. And then I got an office and then quit the accounting firm right after I got divorced. I moved into an apartment. Then I quit the job. What am I doing? So when I moved in, I was in the front yard, and the guy who lives beneath me came up and introduced himself. And just up out of the blue, he says to me, I'm going to a UFO conference. You know I'm tripped.
They're following me.
I'm like, oh my God, why is he telling me this? I live in a secluded area, lots of trees, just down a hill. I'm very happy. I'm rejoicing in my freedom. At the same time, completely brokenhearted and very, very sad. Also pissed that I'm divorced for the second time. But overall, very optimistic. I'm starting to step out of the victim vibe, so I started really deep introspection. And then I start having conscious memories of ETs when I'm alone in that apartment. So the first one was, I was in a dark room and I was standing in front of a tube. And the tube is a little taller than I am, about as wide as I am. And in this tube is floating a baby. I intuitively know it's a boy. Its eyes are open, and they are the bluest eyes I have ever seen in my entire life. And then I feel there's something behind me, so I turn around and there's 3 grays, tall, medium, and short. And they were saying, oh, take your time, take all the time you need, it's okay. And I turn around and I look at this baby in the tube. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. I felt absolutely nothing for it. And then, ding, I'm back to 3D reality. And I'm like, okay, just keep it to yourself.
There's this fuzzy line of distinction. In your space, at every level, there is encroachment. But there's still at the center of it all is, I'm safe. Like, I'm not going to share it. I'm okay with what's going on, but I'm not going to share it to others.
Yeah, there's some kind of faith a Pollyanna-ish kind of faith that you're okay. That's how I felt when I was a kid, and that being would come visit me. I'm like, oh, I just have to go through this until I see him again. I'm not 45-ish anymore. Like I'm very early 50s, 51, 52, something like that. This was November 2016. I met and I moved to Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. He calls me just up out of the blue and says, oh, I have to go to White Sands, New Mexico. Why don't you meet me in El Paso? I'll take you to White Sands, and then I'll take you to Roswell. I'm like, yeah, do it. So we went to White Sands, to the White Sands Missile Range, which was a horrible place. Then we drove to Roswell. And we went to the museum, and then we went to the hotel. I'm relaxing on the bed watching TV, and he's in the bathroom. And I'm thinking to myself, I wish that show People of Earth would come on. So he comes out of the bathroom, and I just stopped the TV on a commercial. And then there is People of Earth on the television. Oh, like, wow, okay. We watched a couple episodes, and we went to sleep. Well, in the middle of the night, my eyes popped open. It was pitch black. I hear footsteps, and I feel Patrick getting into the bed. And I said to myself, why was Patrick sitting on the couch? Was it because of the aliens? And I went back to sleep. And I get up in the morning, these memories just downloading. I was with a group of Greys. We were sitting at a table. We were kind of having a conference, information about the hybridization program. Then we were talking about a book. He comes out of the bathroom, and I asked him, did you get up in the middle of the night and sit on the couch? And he goes, yes. I said, why'd you do that? He goes, well, this has never happened to me before, and I can't even explain it, but there was something in the room watching us. And it was so intense that I got up and looked around, and I couldn't go to sleep. So I told him everything, and we were both wigged out. This was September 2017. I was in our townhouse on Capitol Hill, and it was decided to take an early retirement. They didn't want him to take it, and they said, how about if we bribe you to work 1 year more? You can live on the island of Kauai, and you can manage this brand new radar test program that we have for our defense system. So I spent that year flying back and forth between Capitol Hill and Kauai, and then he took an early retirement, and we came here. So we had just moved here on the inner banks of North Carolina. It was my second night here, and I'm in the kitchen, and I'm unpacking dishes. And it felt like something bit my butt, and it really hurt. So I yelled over to Patrick, Patrick, I think something bit my butt. Will you look at it? So I walk over to the living room, and I bend over, and he's not saying anything. He took a picture, and there's a freaking red X. 9 perfect little round circles. Looked like it was burned into me, like I was branded. He was stunned. So we look at each other, and I'm like, let's just forget about it. 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 And then 9 days later, like I was dropped into another reality. I'm fully alert. I start seeing the memory. I was on a hospital-type bed in this room that was barely furnished. I was lying on my side, on my right side, and I couldn't move my arms and I couldn't move my legs, but I felt something behind me. So I turned around, and right just a couple inches from my face is a gray doing something to my back. we locked eyes. It's a short being, 3 to 4 feet tall, no clothes, no skin, tannish, grayish, and it has gigantic eyes that are slanted, and they're black. Just 2 little holes for a nose and just the tiniest slit of a mouth. This time there was no communication, absolutely nothing. And I was scared to death. And then I'm in my room. So I go downstairs and I'm sleeping. Then I'm waiting. And then I remember something else. I was on the moon. So he comes downstairs. I ask him, will you look at my butt again? He goes, yeah, there's another X. And I start to cry out of frustration. And I said, I need help. He says, how can I help you? It's just like everything, you're just existing in this funnel and you don't know anything anymore. Nothing. That point was pivotal in me stepping out of the victim vibe. That's when I learned, oh, they're not doing anything to me against my will. This is all in accordance with my will. Why am I giving more leeway to the ETs than I am to the humans? Maybe that's more real to me. Maybe I've just known these beings since I was a kid or even before. And so they're like my real family. I recently had an experience with a Men in Black.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about it.
Well.
Thanks to Pinch Points for the feature track Stranger Danger. You can visit them by clicking the album art on our episode page at tooeyarts.com. That's TOOWI arts.com, or go to pinchpoints.bandcamp.com. Thanks to Artless artists Skygaze, Spearfisher, Ofer Karen, Alon Peretz, and Evolve for their contributions. If you want to get more involved and contribute, visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/tooeyarts. Stay strange, folks. Catch you on the next episode.